Hey, welcome to the Local Marketing Beat podcast brought to you by Uberall. I'm Christian Ariola. I will be your host today. Local Marketing Beat is all about helping location marketers stay in the know on the hottest digital trends across the web. We'll surface the need-to-know updates related to local digital marketing and ask the experts what they know, why it matters, and what it means for location marketers. So what's the beat on the local marketing street this month? Let's get into it. We're talking about becoming fluent in with managing reviews and reputation. Reviews continue to be a very crucial part of a location strategy. And for that, we wanted to bring a special guest today, an Uberall customer that has been crushing it, great success, Erin Rushville. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Christian. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're excited. You come with the digital marketing experience for the last 17 years, working with international companies. 4 years managing Wall Street English globally, which according to my information is over 420 centers in 29 countries. So you have the experience there, right? So you're definitely managing a lot of reviews, a lot of locations across different countries. But why don't we start telling us a little bit about Wall Street English? What do you guys do there? And what's your role?
So Wall Street English is an international English language academy for adults, but also teens. And we are currently in about 35 territories with around, like you said, 400 schools. And it's truly international. So we are in Asia, we are in the Middle East, Southern Europe, Northern Africa, Latin America, all the places where people don't speak English really. And we operate in a franchise model. So I work for the international headquarters. We're based in Barcelona. And what we do is that we support our network with systems, toolings, reporting, things that can help them grow their business, basically.
It's funny because I was looking for, how many centers and where were you guys located? It was actually Google AI overviews that gave me the answer without having to go to your website. So it's like, oh, cool, useful tip today. So franchise business model, that means you have, you follow your guidelines from corporate, but then each location kind of operates a little bit on their own, but you have to have a lot of synergies, right?
Yeah.
So how important are reviews for your centers? Like how important are in these countries, right? Outside of North America, outside of Europe, how are people or customers using those reviews when picking an English school? Because I actually never talked to an English language school before, right? So I'm very curious, are reviews as impactful as they are for restaurants and other verticals?
Yeah. I guess nowadays, any product or service that you buy, you feel a bit uncomfortable if there are no reviews. And that goes across all markets. People do like reviews. So, this project about managing reviews, we also had to start actually collecting reviews before we could actually managing them.
Right.
So that has been also part of the project. But yeah, it's crucial. It's trust. You need to build trust to the customer. Basically what we're doing here now then is we need to get the feedback. It's also important for the individual schools to get this feedback, right? So they can understand how their customers are, their thoughts on the customer, but also prospects. And for me that have a background in search, I find it this is basic for us if we want to improve our organic search performance. Yep. So we want to show up every time somebody's looking for an English school in an area, very much into the local search terms, right? So one of the most impactful things you can do at the moment, apart from optimizing your listings, etc., then it is to manage your reviews really well. So Google will use all of this information when they rank you in SERP. We need to make sure that we have enough reviews, that fresh reviews. We need to make sure that we answer. That is incredibly important for our business. It is key to basically gain people's trust.
That's good. That's a great angle, great insight. It's funny because you're talking about any product, any service, and I feel like I go to stores now a physical store, right? Like don't want to say any names, but those big supermarkets in the US, and you're looking at, especially in my case, I go to the electronics section a lot, and I'm looking to something, and I'm like, I wish I could read the reviews, right? There's a very big electronics retailer that now in the price tag, they have the start rating from their online store. It's like, okay, well, that's something, right? But I still want to read all the comments. I want to feel, what are people thinking? It's cool and interesting to see that it is very similar, both in other countries also, but more on the, for a school, right? For an academy in languages. I think that's pretty cool. Now, do you have any, or how are you working on the collection? Like, is there anything that you guys are doing special, or is it just making sure that the teams are asking for those?
Yeah. So first of all, to have them asking the students in the center, or make it available maybe at the reception, right? So people can leave a review. But we also have a bit of a manual process at the moment where we're reaching out to students, which we are currently trying to automate, so that it's quite time consuming at the moment to collect reviews.
Yes.
And we do want to have that as part of an automated, so it doesn't depend on people in the schools themselves. Like a lot of the things with managing reviews is that it is time consuming for the people involved.
Yeah, it is time consuming. It is something that I think we'll reach out to Stefan, right, our CSM that's working with you. I think there's something that probably can do there to speed it up. But I honestly, personally, still think that asking for it goes a long way, right? Because it's that little bit just more personable. I know it takes time. It's not scalable, right? It's not automated, but there's something about that. Now, obviously, you're responding to, I mean, do you have a number in mind? Like, what's the average on a monthly basis on reviews that come through all the centers?
I wouldn't say I know exactly. So because it is so manual at the moment, we will have to look at individual markets and try to focus on them, the ones that have the best opportunities. But maybe we are aiming to get up to around 15 Google reviews per month. Okay. I mean, that sounds not a lot, but if you collect that over a year, that becomes actually quite.
Oh yeah.
I would say that's quite a good number.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's verticals that get 300 a day, and like restaurants, right? And then there's verticals where, like, if you get one a month, you're actually doing good because people are not used to doing it, right? What are some of the practices as you're getting these reviews in to respond? Best practices to respond to these, whether they're positive or negative. How are you handling that?
From International, when we started this project, our recommendation was that all reviews need to be responded. And we use basically the KPIs that are in the analytics tool of Uberall. So how long it takes to answer, and also how many of the ones they get do you actually respond. So those are the KPIs that we focus on.
Okay.
And we want then the people in each country to follow those best practices of answering within 48 hours. And we do also want them ideally to answer to all reviews, but that doesn't always happen. Crucial it is that they answer the negative reviews. We don't want to leave negative reviews unanswered. When somebody comes in and look at the reviews for a business, they are kind of expecting to find somebody that is unhappy. That's normal. So we make sure that we have some negative reviews. We don't want everybody to leave it like, oh, 5-star, this is amazing. That looks a little bit fake, right? So we make sure that we do have those people that are unhappy if it's relevant, right? Because we do have, in some cases, fake reviews that can happen, competitors or people that are up to just want to leave negative reviews. But in those cases, you can actually ask Google to remove them.
That's such a great point. I mean, and I think, like, personal, right? When I'm a customer looking for something, I actually sometimes just go to the negative. I want to see how bad those negatives are, right? Is like, can I handle that? Is that okay for me? And then also, did they respond to them, right? That's a big deal to me. It's like, anybody can have a bad day, they can have a bad experience, but how did the business respond? It's something like, okay, well, ignore that, right? It's like, I'm totally fine. I can go to that place.
Exactly. So we do want to have those reviews there and make sure that we answer them and always stay professional. That's one of our main recommendations. Never start a discussion online with a customer. We always have the answer in saying something like, please get in touch. You don't always know who this customer is. So, we want them to just reach out and have that conversation offline. The worst thing I've seen basically is that when the company starts telling the customer that it's their own fault or, something like that, it feels like a really bad way of managing reviews.
Yeah. And one question that just came to mind is, as you're handling multiple countries, right? Now we bring the language into obviously it's a language academy. So I'm assuming it's not a big issue, but how do you guys handle that? Like, do you have different people helping you with different languages, or do you speak them all? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I wish I could speak them all. No, we do not. So we don't manage it actually internally. We are managing the project of answering reviews. So when we started this project, we actually had to have a project manager involved because this is not just marketing. This goes beyond. It involves a service or possibly a sales team. And we need everybody to be on board, right?
Yep.
Because you can't just tell people do this and they will automatically do it. No, it needs to come top down from, the owner, the GM to say, yes, this is important. Let's include it into your goals, make sure that it's monitored. And I think the success of this project was basically because we went to that step of saying, we need this to be integrated in the business. We need the people in each country to feel like they own this. And I think that's the challenge, of course, with having a franchise network. You don't own the business. You can't tell people what to do. You influence. And most of the times they all agree that this is important. The challenge is, how do you operationalize it so that it actually happens? And in that case, we basically told each territory that, this is the outcome we want. How would you like to apply it to your business? Who's going to answer it? In some cases, it was the people in the individual schools that would make sure that these reviews were answered. In other cases, they will have people that work, let's say, in marketing or service team at the national level. So they all found their own little ways of doing it. And then what we do is that we monitor those KPIs and we basically make sure that people understand the progress. Are they answering? Are they not? So giving the feedback to the teams is very important to keep the motivation.
That is honestly a gold nugget, probably one of my favorites that I've ever heard, because it's not just on marketing. I mean, it really is not, right? It's just, one is too many, but two, it really just, it's for reviews to be insightful for you guys as a business, they have to be operational, right? They have to come into the systems and the processes behind the centers. So I think that it's great gold nugget to anybody listening, right? The importance on partnering, whether you're a franchise or multi-location, but the importance of having those centers and those locations run very smoothly with your marketing projects, right? That was fantastic advice. I think anybody listening, right, like whether you're doing it now or not, is like, that's probably number one tip I would say. Even more than just responding or be fast or KPIs, is like that integration right there is probably why you guys are so successful with your reputation, with your reviews, and now you probably get insights, right? Like your owners and general managers, they get insights like, oh, well, we're slacking on this area, we need to improve here.
Exactly. No, the roles and responsibilities is the success of this project. That's for sure.
Yeah, when we were talking about earlier that, it is a very manual process. Are you doing anything with AI when it comes to reviews management, or do you plan on bringing in AI at all?
We are using Uberall's AI feature.
Okay.
And that has been a revelation to the network. They love it. It is probably the best thing that happened to them because I think there's something satisfying about pushing that button that produces that answer and you can just see how it rides without you.
Yeah, exactly.
So they all are really engaged now in using that. And also because we set this up last year, before that feature was rolled out. And back then we had to set up all those templates, right? We had templates for answering reviews with a comment. We had the automated templates. And the feedback we got from the network was that, yeah, good in many ways, but it's still time consuming and all the answers are very much the same. So when this got, came out, they were all saying, yes, this is what we've been waiting for. And another thing I would like to mention about that tool is that it seems to also be great in all kinds of languages. Latin languages, great. Italian, French, Spanish, no problem whatsoever. But I haven't heard anything bad either about, languages that you wouldn't kind of think of, like Korean, Vietnamese, Arabic. Those languages, we have several countries now also with Arabic, and it seems to be doing pretty good, giving good answers. So no, that was the best release for us this year.
That is fantastic to hear. I think that and for those listening, just to give some context, right? The AI feature on their reviews is not just because you can copy paste that review, right? Put it in ChatGPT and say, hey, how do I respond? It's going to give you a very generic response. It's just all over the place, not branded, no nothing, right? In the Uberall platform is using all your information that it has on you, on the location, on the company, on the brand. So those responses are typically right on point. And it's like, oh, okay, good to go. I mean, you can edit, but it's almost good to go.
Exactly.
Other than AI and reviews responses, I mean, how is the entire Uberall platform helping you guys with your reputation and helping your entire team, right? Like all these locations and centers. What do you think is, I mean, you mentioned AI, but is there anything else that you would call very impactful to the business?
For us, it has been just a big change to clean up all the locations. When we started the project, one of our biggest issues were that we had so many locations that were duplicated. Nobody was managing them. There were fake ones out there as well, So that cleanup of just getting everybody into the platform and us having that ownership. So if people come and go in each country, we will still be able to give them the access to the platform and managing it themselves, because that was one of the struggles with having such a big, network and many people changing. So that was definitely one of the bigger changes. Also then to make sure that they were all optimized. I think that's a pretty low standard to begin with. And now I would say that most of them have been optimized to almost 100%. So our listings have pictures, we have good descriptions, we have, all of the assets that is required to have a good listing. And apart from that,
I would be curious to see, are they using the mobile app at all in any of the centers?
Yeah, some are.
Some?
Yeah, some are. And they haven't really commented on that to me. So, but I think they the ones that do, they are very happy because it goes really fast. So I would say reviews management basically doesn't take that long anymore. We've taken away the excuse of time for answering reviews. So the app, in that sense, it goes, some of the territories I see now, they answer reviews within minutes. Our goal is to have it within 48 hours. And we have, territories that are down at 15 minutes. They probably use the app.
Yeah, can you imagine being a customer, you leave a review, and then 15 minutes later, you get an email from Google that says your review has a response. It's like, what? I just left it.
Exactly.
Well, kudos to your team and for doing that, being so efficient. And honestly, I think this was a very insightful conversation. I probably could keep talking to you for 2 hours because I have so many questions, like from our side, right? From our enablement side, is like, what else can we do for content to help you guys, right? Like, how do we help you leverage the platform more or maximize it? So we'll probably set some time for that later. But I really want to appreciate you coming into the show, talking to me about all these things. I do want to open it up. We have people watching from all over the place, so all over the world. So how can, if they're interested maybe in attending an English academy wherever they are, how can they connect with Wall Street English, but also with you if they want to follow what you're doing?
If they want to get in touch with Wall Street English, there might be a school where they can get in touch directly. Go to local search, look for Wall Street English in Google Maps. You'll find us there, hopefully showing up in a high ranking. And that's, great school to learn English. If you want to get in touch with us at International, you can find us on social media. We also have websites you can contact us on, or my personal LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. I think this was super valuable, very, very helpful for other franchises, other multi-locations. And yeah, just thank you for making the time and for making this happen.
No, you're welcome. Thank you.
And with that, thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode of the Local Marketing Beat, please give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and share it with your colleagues. Hopefully you get some content and some valuable information from today's episode. You can also explore more resources in the description below or learn more about Uberall at uberall.com. All right, see you next time.